Batman the Killing Joke. Now, this is not me doing another review of the comic book I did over a year ago. They actually decided to make a full-length film out of this. And before it comes out on DVD and Blu-ray, they had a one-night event, which I ended up going to. And now I'm going to review this and recommend or not recommend buying this on DVD/Blu-ray when it comes out in about a week or two or so. So Batman the Killing Joke is pretty much the best way of describing it is talking about one bad day, where the Joker has one bad day and how Batman makes the Joker. Kevin Conway back as the voice of Batman Bruce Wayne, and you also actually have Mark Hamill back for possibility one last time as the Joker. Did they do a good job? Did the rest of the people do a good job? Well, let's talk about that in a moment or two. So this film actually starts off with Batgirl doing voiceover and saying something like, you really don't see a film start off something like this with a moon, the moon shining so beautiful, maybe a little cloudy, and really nothing going on. Well, there's more to this than what meets the eye. Batman and Batgirl, they have to go after an armed truck that was just robbed by this really no-nonsense, just crazy, almost like a playboy wannabe. He's like the nephew to one of the biggest crime bosses in Gotham, and he thinks that he's pretty much all that in a bag of chips. So the thing is that he actually starts falling in love with Batgirl, because actually he tries to plan something to actually get her into a trap, which I thought was very, very stupid by her part. So they do a lot with her background story before they really get into how the comic really starts off. I'd say it took about maybe 40 minutes or so before they finally get to the whole thing with the comic, how the comic started off with Batman going to Arkham Asylum and talking to the Joker, and Joker's playing solitaire and not saying anything. So he's talking to him, trying to, reason with him, and unfortunately Joker's not talking. Well, what happens is it turns out that was not the real Joker that was in there, just some other inmate who was dressed up like him. Well, the Joker already escaped, and he was out there to buy like this old abandoned amusement park. And of course, just like in the comics, there were some flashbacks in there. But I gotta say that what they captured so well from the comic book into this movie. Some of the stuff that I actually really had problems with, I'll start off with, not really with Batgirl's background story, but really the villain that Batman and Batgirl were going after, this guy who kind of, has a crush on her. First off, I didn't really like his, I'm all that. I thought it took too long for them to really get into the Joker story, into really how the comic went. I know that they were stretching this out to make it a full-length, 75, 80-minute movie, so they had to really fill in a lot of what I guess the writers didn't kind of do in The Killing Joke. Well, of this being an 80s comic book, yeah, you're only going to do so many pages. But the thing was that I thought that was, my opinion, one of the worst things in there, that it really took so long. It probably could have, there could have been some stuff that could have been taken out. There could have been, some other stuff that was just okay, I can't believe the way they went that way. But it was interesting on some of that stuff. But when they finally get to the Joker and all the stuff that they start going with, oh my God. Now this is definitely, I want to first off say, this is not for the faint of heart. This is actually not a kid's movie. This is actually a rated R movie with a decent amount of language. They never say the F word, but other words they actually throw out. Definitely a lot of violence in this. With Mark Hamill, I gotta say that he did such a great job, as he always does, as the Joker. Definitely a thumbs up on that. And Kevin Conway is always great as Batman. I guess I thought that there were times where that they could have made Batman, made him not as much of a dick as they did in this one, I felt. I felt like that even in the animated series, it was a little bit more kiddo, but they did make this one, this is a completely different Batman than any other Batman you have ever seen, and that's what I was still amazed about. I mean, they did very well with the dialogue of what they had from the comics, and they did such a good job. I'm sure they added their own little things here and there, too. And I believe it was Tara Strong who did the original voice of Batgirl in the Batman animated series, and they brought her back, and she did a wonderful job too. But at one point, she ends up saying, "I can't do this anymore. I'm just going to be Barbara Gordon." Well, then all that stuff kind of goes through, some messed up stuff through her, some messed up stuff with Commissioner Gordon. Now, if you read the comics, you kind of know what happens in this movie. I'm not saying it's step by step and dialogue by dialogue, but there was so much freaking... You can tell that the Joker was just not right in the head, and he was just trying to prove to everybody once again, especially the Batman, that this is who I am. But you know what, Batman? You are too. You just don't want to embrace it, unlike me. But now, do I recommend this, buying it on DVD? I think it comes out August 2nd. Yes, I do. Even with some of the stuff I really, really did not like about the film, this is definitely still a recommend to buy, to own. Even if you want to wait to rent it, it's definitely a messed up movie. But like I said, definitely not for young kids. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay awesome.